Hello. Oh, yeah, the exposure's a bit much right now. Let me knock that down. There we go. That's better. Oh. Throw the paint. Wonder if we'll have a visit from our little spider friend today. Haven't seen them in a while. Hey Davos, how you doing? They're just starting, but thanks. I'm trying a couple different things. They're gonna need a wash coat at the end, or not a wash coat, a flat coat. The game wash is kind of dry with a damn autofocus again. There, dry with a sheen to them that I don't like. So when they're done, they're just gonna get dull coated all overall. How have you been? My back's out, so if I seem a little more uncomfortable than usual, now you know. I'm trying different things on this. Oil washes are a good go-to, and I probably could have got the same results, maybe something a little bit better, or I wouldn't say better, but different. I'm trying different things, different looks, you know. Because not everybody can or wants to use oil paints. Oh, I've been dealing with it for about 20 years now. I don't like this flesh tone, it's too bright. Let me try a different one. Try the sunny skin tone. It might be a bit warmer looking, a bit better for the environment. Oh, and sorry, I didn't finish setting up either. Mike was halfway across the table. Sorry about that. Is that better? Yeah, unfortunately, the only crew member the only crew member wearing gloves right now is the one I'm not using out of the set. But I'd rather practice and fuck up on hands than anything else. Yeah, it's still bright for a good highlight, but it's warmer. And we might come back with washes again just to pluck things out, because I kind of fucked up the fingers. Sometimes it takes some repeats. But that's the thing, the umber wash I used turned out gloss after being well shaken. But the flesh tone one I used turned out matte from the same brand. Same packaging, everything. Come on. Come on. There. It really likes to home in on the front of that LAV, doesn't it? We'll probably come back with a wash, pop some more details out. I think I went too deep with my base tone anyway. I've taken some ibuprofen. My chair's comfortable enough. And it is easing up, but it's just a pain to have to go through it. And I'm not going to do too much to this guy's face, because it's going to be behind goggles. But I drilled the goggles out, and then filled them with clear, so you can see through them. One moment, gotta take care of this interruption. Hey, Alex. How goes it? Did you sleep okay last night? Or not at all? I'm gonna try an old method on this. See what it does. I used to do this with enamels way back in the day, and it actually worked pretty well because the enamels would allow a little extra stickiness here and there. But we're just going to lightly dry brush the face. Most of it's going to be covered up by helmet and stuff like that. You just want the suggestion of the person's features. I'm not Shep Payne. I could never hope to get quality like his or Verlinden. But they were my inspirations. But that's the real trick, isn't it? Most people, when they paint figures this size, they think, oh, we have to make it look photographically realistic, you know, even up close. No, the model's meant to be held at a couple feet away and you take in the scene, you can look closer for certain fine details, but overall, it's meant to be viewed from a foot or three away. And when you look at a person in real life at this size, you're only going to get an approximation of their facial features and highlights and shadows. Exaggerating them makes them work. And that's, you know, there's different schools of thought on that. If you're one of those ones who thinks they need to paint the Mona Lisa in a pea-sized head, more power to you. Hey Aries, how you doing? Yeah, let me get the flesh wash back out. Which one was it? No, that's umber. There it is. We'll redo a couple of the hands. See what we do. We'll apply it a bit more strategically too, instead of putting it all over everything. I'm kind of learning the ropes on these acrylic ones. Oh, I sent you a link. It didn't seem like the model was out of stock, but it's the only place I could find that has that Kenworth Aerodyne in stock. Even eBay doesn't have it. At least not the current issue. It's like the damn thing never existed and I just got lucky to imagine one into existence. Okay. Yeah, he's gonna have his face mask and goggles. He doesn't even have his helmet on yet. Well, that's, I mean, is that, you don't have to build like that, you know, you don't have to do that. Is it something to aim for? Yes. Aiming higher always makes your own efforts better in the end, right? But don't be disappointed if they're not. Come on. Let's not drop things today. Because bending over is the worst thing for me right now. That and sneezing, and I already sneezed once today and it was a close call. Okay. Let's get their mouthpieces going. We are all our own worst critics when it comes to this stuff. Doesn't keep me from doing it. It does make it harder. No, I didn't snart. Oh, I don't know if you were there that one time. sneezed and threw my back out. My back's out right now because of work yesterday. I pushed myself a little too hard. And then once it was out kind of like this, where it was just hurting but not fully spasmatic. Is that the word I'm looking for? Anyway. But I sneezed and it went out so badly I had to stop stream and I had to lay on the floor for the rest of the day because I couldn't be in any other position except horizontal. And it took 3 days before I was even able to walk around with any degree of certainty. Come on. Come on. So no, there was no sneeze sharding or anything like that. Just it would just hurt in general. Hello. You just walked in front of the cameras if you were trying to stay away from them. One moment,
okay.
please. I'm back. Yeah, a rare visit from Mrs. Builder, but we were discussing stuff for my downtime. Who's at my feet? Oh, it's Arnie. Okay. So he's the one with the goggles. I still need to paint the helmet. Is the strap on his goggles or on his helmet? Yes, it is. Okay. It is work related. Normally, it's not too big a deal. Because I've been working there for over 2 years now. It was just timing of everything. Haven't been sleeping well, so already exhausted from that. Weather front came through and had to kind of do a little extra resetting for something. You know, just a whole bunch of stupidity happened at once. You know. And one more, and I'm gonna, because of how close those are to his face. Hey, Nugget. I'm gonna leave the top of his helmet off so I can paint the binoculars. Yeah. He's going to be an interesting one to figure out because of the layers of stuff I need to do. What? Why are you meowing at me, Marbles? Oh. What? I know Arnie's under the table. He's coming down to visit. Okay. Use a little English uniform khaki for the one crew member's face mask. Yeah, Arnie is unfortunately near end of life, and one of the cats that he basically raised as a father is just really concerned about him being old. And he's down here letting me know that. Alright, that does go down over the front of his collar. It goes around the back here too. Let's see if we can finish this guy up first. So I'll need black gray, American olive, and sand. Okay. There's that. Black gray. It's okay, Alex. He's 18, so all the cats we've had have had good lives. Come here, Marmar. Oh, come here, big guy. This is Marbles, though. Oh, he's just a big fluffy boy. Yeah, I know. Hey, big guy. You want to go back down with Arnie? Okay. That's the one that's been meowing. There's the sand color I want to use. It's more of a buff. Oh, everybody's here. And I could paint these guys' helmets sand, but I'm going with the olive green sort, just to add a little bit of difference and a little bit of pop on it. Both would have been found in theater. I've even seen some people have theirs painted up so they've got like an American flag motif on it. Things like that. But that was the crew member on an Abrams tank and not an LAV. So after the Fennec, I've got a couple other options for what we could do next. If you guys want to leave your input on what you think would be a good change. Do you want to see more 35th scale military stuff? Do a resin printed figure? You know, how would you like me to change it up? Because I got a couple different things ready to go. But I want to get this out of the way, and the Fennec, now that it's pretty far along. Okay. Then I could do more work on the Alien Hind, or I've got a Fawn tank transporter. Another Humvee. I've got an 1151 I could paint up. So yeah, what would you like to see me do more of? Gotta wait for that to dry more. It's still got some accelerator on. Actually, let's get his binoculars. And I just painted his forehead. All clean. Come on, autofocus. Be nice today. I even cleaned the lens. Really? There we go. Yeah, working on some tiny ass crap. Yeah, bracing your hands properly helps too, so you don't accidentally wiggle the brush and smack him on the face with it, like I almost did again. Let's try finishing up his helmet. Drop. Yeah, the accelerator's dried up now. Now, if you guys will excuse me, I'm going to run upstairs real quick take a bio break. I'll be right back. Sorry I took so long. It's difficult going up 2 levels of stairs when you have a bad back. Oh. Just give me a second. Holy shit. Is that flash on his thumb that I missed? Coming down's easy. One way or another, you're gonna wind up down the stairs. But going back up, that's difficult. Something useful still in there. But now today is Friday, and I hope everybody has a nice start to their weekend. And you don't have to deal with any bullshit till Monday rolls around. Except Aries. We know Aries is stuck at work and the day is just dragging on for him, so he needs to wait a little longer. No, I hope your day goes by quickly the rest of the day. I need a drop of white. Green, a little more green. Giving the top of the helmet a light highlight. Plus, I'm slowly trying to pull the shape of the band out so I can paint it more easily. There we go. And I'll probably also paint around the edge of the goggles with the same sand color. Alex, mine comes from a injury from many years ago. It's what happens when you load AIM-9 missiles on F-15Es and both of your other crew members are shorter than you. And they can't even lift the missile rail properly. And the OSLA happens to be out. At least the one that wasn't down for inspection. Yeah. So two herniated discs that, for the most part, don't cause me too much trouble unless the weather really changes or I run into a situation like yesterday. So, did work aggravate it? Yes. Is it something that happened because of work? Technically, no. And I'm not about to be that guy to make a big shit over it and potentially cause friction at the job because of it. But it's also another motivator to get, this whole thing going. So, if Twitch, YouTube, and Kick all begin to tick over at the same time, I won't need to have to work in a position that does that. Would I stop working entirely? Probably not. But I'd be able to do part-time or something else. Something a bit more light. Because I'd still want a reason to get out of the house, you know? Overall, I'm not terribly upset with how this guy's turning out. You know? When you hold him at the distance you're supposed to see him at anyway. Yeah, autofocus is not being our friend today. Yeah, the goggles did not come hollow. I took a fine drill bit and drilled them out. Guess again. AIM-9 missile is not 190 pounds. It's filled with concrete too, which is a bit heavier than rocket fuel, from what I understand. And which AIM-9 did you look up? The LM or the X? The X is substantially smaller in diameter. Exactly, Ants, and welcome to the channel. And that's kind of what I'm aiming for, because I'm pushing 49 right now. I'm just afraid I won't be able to retire. There we go. Those actually do look pretty damn good. Okay. Let's mix a little bit of green with a little bit of this. Do a bit more pinpoint highlighting. I'll get all three of them all painted up and then hit them with the dull coat all at once, so I'm not having to reload the airbrush and clean it multiple times in between. Where's my gunmetal? Wrong rack. There it is. Exactly. And I'm trying to put myself on a trajectory for that. It's just not easy. Not easy for me. How's that? But what disappoints me is even my father, who, you know, he retired at a much later age than you did. is still having to work at Chick-fil-A, and I think it's more to get him out of the house now than it was at the time. But he's having to work at Chick-fil-A. He's just one of the guys that helps out in the lobby and stuff like that. He's not one of the line cooks and dealing with all that stuff. But I feel he shouldn't even have to do that, you know? But I think he does it more for the human interaction now than he does for the money, even though the money's not terrible. Okay. Now, I'm going to do something weird. I'm going to try and get these goggles in place, and then I'm just going to touch them with some clear flat to lock them in place, just around the edge. I don't want to get it on the front, and I don't want to use glue because that can mar everything else up. Come on. Oh, come on. There, I'm going to hold them in place with my thumb. Then we're going to put the clear flat right at that seam between the helmet and the goggles. Don't stick to my finger. Stop it. There we go. And I know this is extremely tiny and not the easiest to see with how I've got the camera right now. But yeah. So that's one down, and I'm probably going to have to just brush paint him with the clear flat since I've got it out to kill the shine on his plate carrier and vest, because I don't want to spray him now or else that'll matte down the goggles. I have. It's decent. Only 2 episodes are out. They're going to be released weekly. While the alien is the showrunner and is very prominent in the first 2 episodes, there's more to what's going on than that. And new information, supposedly this happens even before Alien, which makes me worried that they may inadvertently invalidate the existence of the films through what they're doing. The only way that they could do it is if anything and everything involving the alien gets destroyed or deleted, and now the company needs to go to LV 426 to get more. But that's not giving anything away. You've picked up that the alien is there from the trailers alone. There's, I said 10. I was miscounting the containers. There's 5 other creatures, most of which are introduced in the first 2 episodes except one. And that one's still in containment. I just felt gypped at the end of the second episode. I thought we were going to get this big, fight, fist fight, melee fight between a synthetic and a alien set to Tool Stinkfist, and no, credits rolled. I'm like, God damn it! But it was getting good. It parts of it are a little bit threadbare, but then it hooks you with something else and drags you in. So right now it's got my seal of watchable approval. It's better than Romulus, not as good as Alien. How's that? But it sure as hell isn't Covenant. Oh, and poor cat. That's all I'm gonna say there. Poor cat. You'll see. Well, it's one thing to try and match up to something that's already been fucked up by Ridley Scott anyway. In so much as I don't care if there's like an internal lore that doesn't match up, as long as the events of the show don't contradict or invalidate the existence of the films. And it would be very easy to make it so Alien shouldn't have happened. But I do like the fact they broaden the world by having more than just Weyland-Yutani as a company. They're going a bit heavy-handed with the Peter Pan references, but I get it. But one thing, after the first episode, one thing they stopped doing is they stopped giving little nods back to the original films. You got a lot of it towards the beginning because they were setting up that alien feel and all that. But after that, they really did stop with the nods to the first few films, which I actually appreciated. And that's what kind of elevates it above Romulus for me. Yeah, if it was set between Alien and Aliens, then I could kind of buy it. Because that would mean they discovered the creature in Alien, and sometime in that 57-year period between Alien and Aliens, they found it again, brought it to Earth, and the experiment failed. And then Burke, being the little ass kisser, is like, hey, we got a colony there. And sets up the events of Aliens. Which that would have worked perfectly in terms of, just a loose thread. Well, in all of the Alien films, the only peak we have of Earth is after 257 years after Alien, and it just shows a ruined Paris that looks like it does right now. So it's refreshing to see Earth populated and everything like that. But they have to be really careful with where they go and what they do now. It looks like and the previews show this, so it's not spoiler, and I can't spoil something I haven't seen myself, past episode 2. It looks like some of their efforts are successful in what they're trying to do in the episodes, and they get the specimens to the island that the first episode set on. That being the case, it's going to get really interesting from there on out. And it helps dispel any worry about, in terms of like a nest forming in the city and all that stuff. They managed to contain the story in a way that it doesn't broadly affect the world in terms that are not reconcilable. But depending on how they do it, they could easily dumb it down by turning it into Alien Jurassic Park. Arnie, I'm sorry, did I bump your head, boy? Yeah, hi guy. Old man. Well, they've already hurt the original movie with 2 mediocre prequels. I hate to say it, I know the guy made the original, but Ridley Scott has damaged the Alien film series with his Prometheus and Covenant films. In that, in order to make what he has created line back up, they need to go further away from Alien than back to it. Romulus kind of skirted that, and I like the way Romulus did it, and I'm going to spoil it, because it's been over a year. Sure, everyone who wanted to see it has seen it. By going back and plausibly doing something within what we know of the universe, they found the original Alien. They essentially cloned it, or they made it. Somehow they were able to get facehuggers, either via cloning material or a nest was formed by it, kind of like what we saw at the end of Alien, which is still plausible, but kind of a stupid idea. But somehow they were able to create facehuggers. But in that, they discovered the existence of the black goo, which David was telling Weyland-Yutani about in messages in Covenant. If you watch the stuff for Covenant, there's stuff that was left out that would have made sense. And I've talked about this on stream before, where David was actually sending Weyland-Yutani messages from that planet, which explains why that planet was not on any scans, which they say in the film. They're like, where'd this planet come from? It's not on any of our scans. Why do you think that is? The company knows David's there. They don't want David getting off the planet. You see how that worked out. With that, though, basically the company was able to reverse engineer the black goo out of the alien and out of the facehuggers and make their own version. Which I think is a good way of trying to bring what Ridley Scott did back into the fold by not necessarily validating the films he made, but running with the idea in those films in a way that works with the established universe. The main thing I don't like, and Fede Alvarez confirmed it unfortunately, that is the Narcissus that you see on Romulus Station, and then you see it leaving as the station's hitting the ice rings of the planet. So Ripley was in Romulus for some reason. So it's blink and miss it, but it's there. personally, I think that detail, adding that shuttle in for those things, it's a cool ooh thing that you see it, but after that it's like, well, there's no purpose for her to be there. She's drifting. But if they found the Nostromo wreck and the alien, what's to say they couldn't find her? And it actually makes sense that they were able to find the wreck and the alien, because the one thing they've also noticed, when you have masses of objects in space, they will generally tend to congeal together once an orbit has been established of some sort. And people are like, well, what about the size of the explosion? All we saw was the energy release. We don't know how badly the ship was damaged. Obviously, it was blown apart. But from what we saw there, from just trying to update it to work, that to me is more plausible than having it completely molecularly destroyed down to the point where there's nothing to find. So it makes sense that the leftover chunks of the Nostromo would start to coalesce together. And in that, as it moved around, it would bring in the drifting alien body that had already cocooned itself. So that wasn't too far of a stretch, going into the movie. And honestly, given where the films had gone, it was the only way to tell a story without having to go so far out in left field to restart it again. I only wish that we actually saw a little more of the original alien running around, and it wasn't killed off screen. It just would have been nice watching that movie knowing that the creature you're seeing ripping these people apart is the same one from 1979. Okay, he's almost done. Sorry, trying not to belch out loud. But one overarching thing that you get is you feel like, yeah, the alien's here, it's the big badass, it's moving, it's killing things, it's eating the rich. But, the way they introduce it, something's worse. There's something worse. And I think it's whatever that winged creature is. The one that's still in lockup. Yeah, we as the audience have certain expectations when we go into an alien film. Or series now. We want to see the alien, but at the same time, and I think that's what they're doing here, is they're using the alien to ground us in this existing world, right? They're saying like, here's your alien. What you've seen of it over the years is bad, but how about if we show you that there's something out there that's even worse? Like, apparently there's a second variation on the facehugger that's going to be coming up. But that could just be people over-dissecting the trailers, too. Which does happen. But I'm glad the trailers haven't really shown us too much about what's going on, and they just show us stuff to get us interested. That hasn't happened in a long time. Yeah, let's go a bit lighter on that again, actually. And I think that's why I'm more interested in the series, is that it has that variety that's been lacking. And maybe this, if they do it right, it could be the reason the company wants the aliens from LV-426, because they realize what it was and it gets lost. I don't think we've seen all that little bug does yet, though. See, Swagman, that's the thing. I think for right now, they're keeping the AVP series far removed from this. I think the AVP series ties in more with the Predator series than it does the Alien series. Look at Badlands. I think they're trying to navigate Badlands to actually introduce the next AVP series based on Colonial Marines stuff, which makes sense. In this, I don't think they're touching that with a 10-foot pole because it's too easy. And there's nothing in this series yet that says the Predator exists in this particular universe. I could be wrong, because I could swear that the lady playing Miss Yutani in this is the same actress that was Miss Yutani at the end of Requiem. And that being the case, she is Wayland Yutani, which means she could be a synthetic. But yeah, getting the Queen out of the Arctic would be... It would be too easy, I think. That's... I know, I just praised it for how they got the alien for Romulus, but to me that makes more sense in that it seems more plausible than the whole thing about the first AVP. Ugh. Okay, let's get some more music going. Because in that time as well... Okay, what do we want to hear? Besides me talking. Like, yeah, we know the alien can exist in space. All that. How deep is the overall coastline around the Arctic, or the Antarctic? They do well in space, how well do they do under intense pressures? You know, it would be easier to see the Queen just being crushed to death by the depth. Because it's one thing to exist in the vacuum of space. It's another thing to try and exist when you have 35 elephants per square inch on your shoulders, you know? That's why I think grabbing the Queen would be more of a stretch than what they did to get the alien for Romulus. Sorry, this is part of the stowage for the turret. I want to add a water bottle. Yeah, let's get this on screen for a second. I want to add a water jug here and one back here. And I think Ocean Gate has taught most people that, you know, the extreme depths will literally destroy anything. But what is sad is there's people claiming that the predators might be introduced into Alien Earth, which I hope they're not. Would Disney, by extension Fox Studios, be able to do that if they wanted? Yeah, they own the rights. Would it be a wise move? No. Not from this audience member's standpoint. Come on, close back up. Oh, there we go. But obviously, they don't listen to what their audience members say, or we wouldn't have got The Last Jedi. Just seeing what else I still have to do. I think we're going to glue this guy in place. That way we're not dealing with him on the desk anymore. No, I personally think it would be a bad idea to tie this existing universe to the Alien vs. Predator one. That's one thing I think they've done a fairly decent job at, is outside of the two AVP films, they've essentially kept the two chronologies separate, the two storylines separate. And that's to their benefit. I think they really need to step back on the Predator and really take it back to its roots even more than Prey did. But that's just me. It's going to be interesting to see where Badlands goes. Elle Fanning playing a Weyland-Yutani synthetic already plants it somewhere in the time frame of Alien to Aliens. But with that, it also it allows for that stupidity to come to pass. I like the idea of Aliens versus Predator. I don't like how they've executed it so far. In the games it worked, in the comics it worked, because it made a kind of sense, especially the first comic where you have this colony world that the Predators had no idea there were humans on. They seeded it, the humans knocked out the hunt leader, and they just went amok. Meanwhile, the aliens are breeding on the planet from the seeding. The way they wrote that made perfect sense. And that would even work with the usual things these days. You got your girl boss character, you got your different creatures and all that. I think part of the difficulty is also does anybody know? Yeah. But and Alien Earth had me thinking about this too. What royalty license does James Cameron hold on Aliens? He had Sid Mead working with him. But ultimately, according to him, he had to go back and redesign everything himself. So technically, you know why we haven't seen a power loader or an alien-style pulse rifle or colonial marine armor in anything, even the games, since '86? Because if you look, they're always changed. They're always modified, or they're not exactly like you saw in the movie. I think James Cameron holds all of the copyright for those because he designed them. 20th Century Fox owns the ideas for like the Colonial Marines and stuff, but I think there was something in the contract that he holds all the permissions and copyrights for those, and they're not allowed to use them. Which is why we've never seen a straight-up real pulse rifle outside of Alien 3. That was only in shadow and it was repainted black, and it didn't even sound the same. And you saw it for such a short time, you couldn't even be certain it was the same things. I mean, we can now, but I'm just saying at the time. Okay, clean my eyes real quick. Ah, there. Okay, let's get this guy in. Nope, we gotta flat coat his body armor. Hold on. So that might also be why we never saw a proper Aliens versus Predator movie. And it's not something important enough for them to talk about, but I really think that has something to do with it. I'd like to ask him, you know, I'd rather say, so, what kind of royalty or rights information do you have on Aliens in terms of the designs? To me, that would be interesting to know. Because even in Colonial Marines, as bad as the game was, the armor was different, the weapons were different, even the smart gun was different. The heroic weapons you find that are supposed to be the main character's weapons from the films still didn't look the same. Some green, some white. We'll fade up this guy's helmet too. So, crew's taking I don't know, not taking as long as I thought it could, but I'm using some pretty quick and dirty methods. But I think 20th Century Fox does not want to have to pay Cameron's fees if they decided to go with a literal translation for his designs. What, Marmar? Hmm? What, Marble Boy? Where are you? He's sleeping. Come here. Come here, big guy. Oh! Ow, ow, ow. Okay, you don't want to be picked up. Come here. Come on. What's the problem, huh? What's the matter, big boy? Come here. What are you doing? Come on. Get some lap time. Get some lap time. There we go. Hi, big guy. I know. I know. Yeah. Yeah, big boy. Yeah, he's really worried about his daddy. Hi, Arnie. Can't stop the inevitable, though. Now, how are you going to be positioned here? Get your feet in the hole first. So your points of contact are going to be your hand and your elbow. It's probably the best I can do. There we go. Got a nice bottle of water there with him too. The driver in his spot. Come on, autofocus. Play nice today. Now let's see if marbles drew blood on my knee. Nope. Okay. But all that is also conjecture. It's my conspiracy theory as to the whys of some of the things we've seen. There's no truth to it. It's just what I think. But the one main thing I do like that they have been doing, and I think back before Covenant came out, they had the basically the Alien short film kind of thing happen, where a bunch of people just made short films based on their idea of things in the Alien universe. The Alien series works best as an anthology. Like, what would be cool? Now that we've established that they have found a planet that the aliens come from, regardless of whether it's LV-426 or a engineer planet or whatever, they never said which planet it was. They just know that they've got eggs, they've got aliens, they've got facehuggers, which means they found a place that had them, right? Major Havoc, thank you for the resub. I really do appreciate it. Right now, any donos or sub money is going straight into savings for a larger goal for next year. I've updated my panels down below. If you want to support the channel by other means, by either subject or supplies, I do have my Amazon wish list up there, but anything I get monetarily is going immediately into savings. There's a large goal for next year that I'm getting up towards. Using my own money as well, not just you guys, so. But we'll see if we make it. Gonna try and make a childhood dream come true. But anyway, I was getting on with, if you want to do another series, an anthology series, Who remembers reading the Dark Horse Aliens comics in the 90s, if you did? Does anybody remember the comic Aliens Genocide? Where they go to a planet to get, you know, they found the aliens' drool or whatever it was, some jelly they made, had severe medicinal properties, similar to the black goo. Royal jelly, basically, based on like a beehive. They go to this planet and they find two alien hives at war with each other because they've both grown to a certain size. And it's about the people trying to get into one hive, but meanwhile where they're landing is like landing in the middle of a bee swarm. And they have to figure that out. Simple idea, but I could really see that working as an anthology series. Hey, Arnie. And thanks again for that sub, Major Havoc. Darker dot on the front of these. I'm not going to gloss them, simply because I'm, well, what could I do? What could I do? Because those would be either polarized or iridescent, or they would be, they'd have those hexagonal filters over them to keep the glare down. But yeah, doing something like Genocide, where, okay, now Weyland-Yutani, because we don't know the ends of Alien Earth, so I'm speculating for right now. But they know such a world exists where this creature exists, or all these other creatures. That eyeball one freaks the fuck out of me. That one's more concerning than the freaking alien. Anyway, but what if they want that creature again? So they go back to the planet they documented finding it on. To me, that makes more sense in continuing the stories than what they've been doing in the films lately, you know? Build on what's before and go from there. And they also had a twist on the whole android thing, in that in the Genocide story, there was a big guy. We're talking like imitation Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? He never took the... In the story, there was a drug made from the jelly called Xenozip. It was basically like steroids in pill form. And they always commented that the guy was a synthetic because he never took it. And that sets that up in the story, but it turns out he wasn't. There was no synthetic ever. You know? There's a lot of things in that story that could be translated out to work if they go where I think they're going with the series now. Okay, I've got as much on this guy done as I think I want. Oh, I still have to glue his mouthpiece on. We'll get back to that. But let's get him dull-coated first. But I think that would work as a follow-up now that they've established all these companies exist, and now more than just Weyland-Yutani knows about the creatures. Actually, I think you can go on YouTube, and I believe the series is called Alien Theory? Or the channel is called Alien Theory. He does kind of an audio walkthrough of that. Let me see. yeah, there's a channel of it. So here, pause. I'll just link it in chat so anyone who's interested can actually check it out and see what the story was. And the artwork for the comic was really good. Very, it was like a watercolor. Yeah, it was watercolor. It wasn't done using your standard, at the time, Marvel style stuff. It was really interesting. Basically, yeah, the company's trying to fight over who gets what. Welcome back, Aries. Are you home now? Or, it's 1:26. He's either home or he's back from lunch. One or the other. So that sprue can go away. I just need this guy's mouthpiece. But you can almost see him kind of building up to that company war idea right now. Knock you down a little bit. There! Now I don't look like a big white blob talking to you. But now my video quality has suffered otherwise. There we go. And even in the comic, I believe there was another company fighting to get the stuff. So really, if they were smart, they wouldn't pull a Star Wars and get rid of the EU only to go back and rape its corpse for characters, Thrawn. They would just look at what's been written so far and use that to their advantage. Like, imagine if the execs at Fox had looked at what other companies had done with the Alien series before they started making Alien 3, and they had seen what Dark Horse had done with the first graphic novel series that made up Book 1, and how they got a basically Newt that was fucked up in the head, a Hicks with PTSD that was being alienated, and all this other stuff. And they ran with that instead. Oh, sorry. Just giving my eyes a bit of a break. And it is time for a stretch break. I know I paused for a long time before. That was a bathroom thing, but now I'm just going to take my usual stretch break, so I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. That being objective right now. There's the final crew member. Come on, autofocus. There we go. Younger me would have wasted a day on each of these guys. Older me is like, okay, I got other models to build. Let's find out what his contact points are going to be. Looks like just elbows on the top of the hull. Okay. I do appreciate everybody coming and hanging out today. Next week, you know, any debilitating injuries aside, I expect to be on sometime around 7 or 8 in the morning on Sunday through Wednesday. Where did my RLM2 go? What, Arnie? I'm just tapping you. I know you're old and cranky. So am I. We're just gonna bring this all the way over here. Field gray? No. There we go. Hi, Allie. I'm afraid there's no room up here for you right now. Trouble has arrived. Do you want up, Trouble? Chair? Come on. You've been chair catting really well lately. Let's keep that up. Yeah, pretty girl. Allie up. Come on. No desk. Sometimes you can see the intelligence in her head. It's kind of creepy. Getting the hold down straps for these painted, so when I glue them on, they'll make sense. Then we can weather them to match. Which will just be a lot of sand washes and stuff. What? No, you can't get up there. That was very cute standing up like that, but you can't get up there. tweezers. This is something I kept meaning to add, but I forgot. The cooler looks really nice right there, though. It fit perfectly in that spot. And with that, I am... yeah. Oh, there we go. Got one or two good squirts out of it. But I am basically out of accelerant. And while that dries... it's mud time. Where did they go? Now we're going to go with the European mud again. This will start us out anyway. And I'm just going to do a quick and dirty base. So we're gonna have our earth color. We're gonna tone and color that with some paint after it dries. So this may or may not be done today, but it'll be in a state that I might be able to do a short. I got a jar of dirt. It's like lumpy chocolate pudding. Get off the ferrule. There we go. And you notice I'm trying to lightly go back over it to knock down any peaks, but also not to leave a directional pattern to it. So it feels a bit more natural. And I'll work on that in a second. I really should have printed out another tire to be sacrificial, to leave tire tread, but I don't think I can in this. But I really don't need to leave tread marks too much. Quick and dirty stuff. This is made by Vallejo. I think it's their attempt to keep up with the market with like SMS and AK and all that. Just I like Vallejo's branding. I like the stuff they make. It's super compatible with everything else that's out there. I don't have to relearn how an acrylic medium works to use it. see how, with a little creative painting, once this is dry, which is probably going to take the better part of the afternoon. So, which means we won't be getting to this today. But while it's still wet, we're going to open up our other bag of dirt. I need something. Do I have another Tupperware? I do. Oh, yeah, that was a bad idea. Anyway, now the bad idea is over. Come on. Because in the bag it was stratifying, and I wanted to kind of get it more mixed up. Just in areas next to where it's going to be. Put some rocks and gravel. A lot of this is going to get painted up too. A little more of the light stuff. Now these should just be able to get stuck in. And once it's painted up, I should be able to make them match up to how the tires look. Which is why I use the same earth medium that I used on the tires for their mud effect as well. Put a little bit of the smaller stuff in the road. But it's not going to be anything special. It's not meant to be a diorama. It's just something to give context to the weathering on the vehicle, and something a bit better than just a plain wooden base. So I'm going to set this on it for now so it can dry up a little bit and I can get the vehicle embedded into it. And make sure that I don't have any giant rocks underneath the wheel like right now. Get you over here. Need a little more of the earth medium right there under that second tire. I did my best to make sure they were level, but I'm not perfect at all. And a little bit of height difference happened on the wheels. This also helps hide that too. Bit of climb there too. All right. Now that I've got them touching, we can blend away the bulge. The model shouldn't stick too much, so I should be able to carefully pry up underneath each wheel and get it to pop free of the surface for when I go to paint this. Come on, you. There we go. Now I need some... I'm going to take the turret off so I can work on that independently while this dries. With the driver there. Okay. There we go. They give you the bases of antennas. I'm going to have to increase the light again. They give you the bases of antennas, but they don't work that great. They're too thin to add anything to. Okay, one moment. So I just want to stretch some sprue, add some antennas to this. That did turn out pretty damn good so far. And I just popped him off the model. Careful when putting your models down. And for those that are new here, we are also on Kick. So if you'd like to support the channel over there, you can do so as well. Trying to diversify. Let's get you glued on with something different. I tried using Elmer's just to be a low-tack solution. Doesn't seem like it wants to work. I'm going to rest this back on the hull, actually, because I want to get the crew served weapon in place and going. I need something to drink. I'm gonna try and be on tomorrow after work too. Not off till 4, so I'll be on later. But things might be hectic here that afternoon too, so we'll play that one by ear. I need... Okay, I'll have to pick that up. I need a thin tissue. Or a tissue-like material. Something like what the camo stuff's made of, but not pre-cut. Trying to think, sorry. Where could I get something like that? Sorry, thinking out loud. Toilet paper would be too thin. And it's patterned. I need something about the size of this piece of tape, but not this piece of tape. Yeah, that's too thick. For a second I was thinking, wait, maybe I do need that piece of tape. No, it's too thick. I want to make the air identification panel for the rear. While I'm thinking on that, let me get on those antennas. Stretch some sprue. You want to keep it slightly thick. People think antennas got to be thin. They're actually pretty thick. Too thin and they'll actually cause you more trouble. Get that off there. Where did this come from? Over here? Okay. And these will have to be the exact same length. I need to look at that picture again. Just to eyeball it. About that long. I hope everybody does have a good start to their weekend. See, I knew that was going to happen. They just don't give me enough meat to drill it either, and they don't mold the antenna bases so you can drill them out too easily either. Not like the old Tamiya or Italeri bases that came with that little slit down the side you could glue your sprue into. have to work. Waiting for it to kick a little bit. Have to do. And now the counterweights at the end. And another one to remove. Bye-bye. Yes, I need to save money up. No, I am not going to be doing it by botting. What do y'all think so far? I really need to find that paper to make a tarp out of. Orange tarp. Give me 1 second. I gotta go ask my wife if she might have something like that. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. On the way upstairs, the solution presented itself. A Burger King napkin. It's thin enough that even when it's painted, I can bunch it up and crumple it up, and make it look right. And they are fluorescent orange. Now what's weird is I'm also seeing It looks like cardboard with strips of olive drab tape on it. It's kind of a identification thing too. Just kind of taped to the side of the turret. I don't know if I want to go that far. I'm trying to not make this unit specific. But the fluorescent orange Air ID tarp is visible on damn near all of them. Yeah, so we're going to go with that. So this is going to get a little messy. But isn't that what we go for here? Before we get messy with that, let me get the antennas painted. Yeah, I know, it's the only downside to Kick. I can tell you this, their payout's a lot better though. Like, I appreciate people who sub on Twitch, but if you want the streamer to benefit more, Kick has a much higher return. Go. And they might be getting more traction over there too, because of some decisions being made at Twitch lately. Sorry, Steve, I don't. I do have a Discord. I'm just not on there very often. I don't have it on my phone. When I'm offline, I'm offline. I know it sounds counterproductive and all that, but it's just the way I choose to have it. This is where it's going to get interesting. This doesn't look very orange on screen. How am I going to paint this? I'll just paint it on paper towel, and then that way I can lift it off. I don't need a lot of it, just... And I think this is just like, you know how you got your blue tarp material that you always see everywhere? I think this is the same stuff, just orange. It's just that plasticized fabric. So I don't mind if it has a bit of the texture from the napkin in it. I just don't want to tear the napkin like it just did. Slowly trying to make it larger than I need, just in case. A lot of times they're quartered up and then tied down. or they're just thrown on top of everything. Yep. Don't fold on yourself like you just did. Ah, no. Fine. Restart. Attempt number 2. I don't use this fluorescent orange for much else, so it's not like I'm wasting it. Because I was going to hold this down in front of the little space heater I've got going down here that keeps Arnie warm when he sleeps down there too, to dry it out. That way I could get another coat on it. Maybe I should do that before doing both sides. Oh, and the music stopped. Alright, now let's dry this out. Okay. Shouldn't take too long, the material's so thin. Wow, that fluorescent orange almost looks like dried blood on the napkin there, or on the paper towel. Let's see. Yeah, getting it closer doesn't do anything for the color either. Almost there. Trying to remember what I used as a kid to do this. I'm drawing a blank. Alright, let's do the other side now. Hey, kitty. Hey, old man. Yeah, Arnie used to be the king of chair catting. He's just gotten a little too old for it now. But he'll still jump from counter to counter to get food upstairs by himself. But I just don't think he has the energy to jump straight up onto the chair anymore. In the kitchen, he'll go onto a chair and then go onto the counter and then jump over. On that. Oh. Let's get this drying. So what's everybody else doing for the weekend? on, dry out quicker. It's starting to get there. Probably one more coat on the other side. Yeah, I'm working too, unfortunately. At least tomorrow. As I was saying earlier, Sunday through Wednesday I'm going to be off work, so kind of a mini vacation for myself. And I'm purposely going thick with the paint because I am trying to essentially plasticize this. But now that I got 2 coats on it on one side, it's pretty well saturated and it should become more opaque and fold a bit more realistically in size. Clean this up a little bit. Alright. I know the camera is not able to see the fluorescent yellow very well. Or not fluorescent yellow, fluorescent red, orange color. It's the right color for the Air ID tarp. Even though it doesn't look like it. Hopefully it'll show up when I do the reel later on. Or the short, whatever you want to call it. Who's that? Is that Allie? That is the little Allie monster. Hi, girl. Hi, Trouble. What are you doing up here, huh? Yeah. You gonna lie down? Or are you gonna get in trouble by getting on the desk? What are you choosing? Oh, I see. It's one of these times. Okay. No, the reason I'm taking the mini vacation at home is because the wife herself will be out of town. And she's going for a kind of baby shower firstborn for her niece. My son will be working. So I really am just here alone. Well, not 100% alone. Like I said, my son will still be here, but he'll be doing his own thing. He's 19, he's graduated, starts college next month, so he'll have his own things. We are not hunkering down right there, girl. So no, it will be truly a mini vacation. But we have been invaded by Cat. You realize it's only been 2.5 hours, Allie. I still got half an hour to do stuff on here. You're early. Usually you don't come do the desk catting until end of stream, because you've had enough. Just means she wants my attention. Yeah. Pretty girl. You better be glad I'm not airbrushing. Yeah. If I was airbrushing, I'd be tossing you off the desk. Gently, but I'd be tossing you. And I would tell the elf. See if I can make a spot for her real quick. Get this off here. But if you guys have any feedback on what kind of subjects you'd like to see next, let me know. I'll probably move from this into the Fennec, since the Fennec was on one of the last streams. But after that, I wouldn't mind taking a break from 35th scale for a minute and do maybe another figure. I don't know. What do you say, Allie? What do you want me to do next? She doesn't talk very much. No, she doesn't even meow very much. Come here, girl. Yeah. Okay, how much more? Yeah, it's still shiny. You keep them entertained while I hold this down here. How's that? Little murder mitten. Little murder mitten. Yeah, Davo, she likes to just jump up here and hang out all the time. Yeah, I think that's good enough. Alright, yeah, that's good enough. And I want to do it before the paint fully dries and does go, like, hard and rubbery. So that way I can put this on the back of the turret and form it still. Okay, little monster, I need the model. Come on, Allie. Out of the way. There. Like that. Too bad that covers over the cooler. Like I said, I'm kind of just throwing shit at this to see what all works for it. Actually, we can make it smaller. And kind of just do that with it. Use the matting agent to hold it in place. That is what we will do. That way, if you peek enough, you'll see the cooler kind of hiding under it. But I want to dust this up at the same level as the jerry can, or not the jerry cans, the water cans. Down in there. One thing I'm going to have to look into is seeing if I can find some 3D printable ratchet strap pieces. Not so they're functional, but so I can just make them look like they're tightened down over something. As of right now, I'm probably just going to take a piece of tape, hide it underneath the bin here somehow, wrap it over, and that'll help make it look like it's being held by something. I don't want to go piling more crap on top of it. Yeah, it's amazing the joys that a pet can bring into your life. Okay, that's not big enough. Why'd you jump? Get this off here anyway. I had it up here for a different reason. It's not there anymore, so... But yeah, you're a little ice princess. Found you in a snow berm. Probably longer than I need it, but that's fine. This will be getting painted the same color as the straps on the jerry can holders. Where am I? There's my nippers. You're laying on the nippers, girl. Come on. You're plugged, that's why. Oh, jeez. Giggity tax. You have to pay the giggity tax. That counts for that's what she said too. Yeah, I like how it's coming out to it. It has just the right amount of stuff on it without looking, you know, too busy. I'm pretty much done with the hull. I think I just have to add some wiring to the antenna, and the hull is done too. Too much glue. There we go. See, Aries paid the giggity tax in advance already, so he gets a free one today. On your way home? Alright. I can't guarantee I'll still be on by the time you get home, but there's a good chance of it. We got a good flow going today. Okay. Or should I just... I'd leave the strap yellow, but it just looks like tape. Without the ratchet straps on it, it stands out too much. I think I'll paint it the field gray color. Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of Home Depot brand ratchet straps being used. They're all suitably green, gray, sand, tan, whatever color you want to call them. But the LAV shorts that I've done for YouTube have actually been quite popular, so if you guys are the ones watching those, thank you very much. I just picked up the wrong brush. Get the phone out of the way. I'll just stick it over here. There's the one I want. Allie, thank you for behaving so far. I found that the Vallejo RLM-02 color, typically used for German aircraft weapon bays and landing gear and stuff in World War II, is a really good color to use for tie-down straps on U.S. vehicles, because it represents that faded khaki color that they typically take on once they've faded down from use. And it stands out nicely from the rest of the colors on the vehicles and such, too. That's better. Hi, pretty girl. You've always liked getting pet right there. Really can't do much with her here, can I? Alex, thank you very much for that. That tip will be going to the fund. But that will be going to the Dream Fund. And by that I mean the dream I'm going to make come true. Because where we're moving to, I'm going to need a different kind of vehicle. I'll be keeping the Camaro, so that's on the long-term radar. But I can't afford to be without a vehicle when it's down for all the bodywork and stuff, because that could take months to a couple years, depending on who you take it to and how in-depth they get. So I need to acquire another vehicle that has off-road capability, is easy to maintain, and won't cost me $30,000 to $40,000 out the gate and get me another vehicle payment. So I've got a crazy far-fetched idea that I'm going to see what I can do about next summer, and from now till then I'll be saving for that, and I need to get up to about $6,000 or $7,000. I was like, oh, couldn't I just put that money into the Camaro? Yes, I could. But once I put that kind of money into it, I don't want to drive it in the snow ever again. And unfortunately, where I'm moving to, where I live now too, snows. And where I'm moving to has some pretty nasty roads as well. So in the winter, I don't want to expose it to that. And yes, I have talked this over with the wife, and she has given me permission. I'm going to attempt to get a running Humvee from auction next summer. Because everybody wants 10 to 15 grand for even an old square body Blazer now. They want 30, 40,000 for used trucks from the 90s. Any new truck these days is going to be the same as a house payment. So the only way to get something that's even remotely fitting what I want is to get a Humvee. I know it sounds weird, but think about it. I don't need a Ford F-350 Raptor package thing or anything like that. I just want something I like. Psst, 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 psst. Hi. And I know some of you are like, oh, that's a stupid idea. If you think about it, it really isn't. What do you have to do to a modern vehicle, say if your CV axle breaks? You need a bearing puller, you need a slide hammer in some cases to get the CV axle out of the transmission. You need a whole bunch of stuff. On a Humvee, it's 7 bolts. And the CV axles are just the same. So now we're going to dust up the tarp a little bit. Are you watching the... Don't you dare try swatting the brush girl. You guys are watching this, right? She's tracking that like a turret. So yeah, over the next few months, any extra money I have, I'm not going to be buying models with. I'll get supplies and stuff. But I was just looking at it, and I've looked at what I've spent over even the past year on models, and I'm like, you know what? I need to start diverting that now to something a bit more important. And once that's done, I'll be able to concentrate back on models again. Especially once we move up there, if I'm going to have my own hobby shop. Wouldn't it be nice to have a rolling advertisement? Okay, that's back on there. Yeah, I can weather that in place. There. Aside from the groundwork, most everything else is done. I'm just trying to let the groundwork set up just a little bit more before I pop the LAV off. Because I need to do the wires on this that go down to the antenna here. I almost wonder if I shouldn't glue them to the hull first and then run them up, instead of trying to fight them constantly breaking off the top of the dome. What, kitty? Huh? What? Pretty girl. I'll turn off this heater, though. I'm getting a bit cooked. But either way, I can't afford to not be able to get to work or get around, so... Well, Miss Allie, what do you think? You think we've reached a stopping point for now? And come back tomorrow night and work on the Fennec some more? Huh? 'Cause that's about as much as we can do on this girl. I can't do much more. This all has to dry before I can paint it. But I can at least hold it up and show it off a little. Ooh, that was close. Almost dropped the model. Hey, autofocus is playing nice on that one. So I probably will have a short up tonight on it. Yeah, she is a well-behaved cat. She's never been a behavior problem, that's for sure. I think it's because she knows that she's safe here. Her previous owners dumped her off in a snowbank when she was like 6 to 8 weeks old. We got her just as her eyes changed color. That's when I found her. And she does this to me at night too when I'm asleep. She just lays right next to me, purring away. Doesn't nudge on me or anything. Sometimes I'll wake up and I'll be like, huh, and I'll reach out and pet her. She might nip at my finger or something, but then she goes right back to sleep. Just an all-around good girl. Do you approve of this model, Ellie? Huh? She's just giving me the squints. We're not playing with the base, girl. Nope. I want to drop a bit of a black wash on the headlights to define the outside gasket. And that just defines the detail of them a little bit more, gets rid of the oddness. And I can touch up outside it to the color of the headlight housing. Clean up any slop that I made. But that does look really nice, though. And this is the first, extensive 35th scale project I've done in a long time. Those got bent. That one broke. Okay, we're not done yet then. Well, the Marine Corps' mascot is a bulldog, not a cat. Especially not an alley cat. What are you doing, little menace? Hey, you. Are you showing off your little paint dip paw? Yeah? Rar rar, rar rar, rar rar rar. Yeah, she's got a little white tuft on her chest, and then that. And that's it. And that little white streak goes all the way to her main toe bean. Yeah. Yeah, you don't like it when I play with your toe beans? Okay. I'm just trying to think of anything else I could do to wrap this up. And I'm kind of out of ideas. Figures were a little quicker and dirtier than I wanted, but I think it kind of adds to the nature of the model that they are. Yeah, I've just got to add those wires once I can pop this off the base, and then that's that. Where did that brush go? It's not that one. It's that one. Pushed aside a little bit there. I just don't want to pull it off yet, because if I do, it could stretch out what the tires are sitting on. Whereas if I let it sit normally, it might shrink away a little bit and make it easier to pop off. Or I'll just have to learn how to paint around it. But yeah, I think that's it for today. I'll do my best to be back on tomorrow night, but if not, I will be on Sunday morning. About 6 a.m. my time. Come hell or high water. Well, no. Try 7 a.m. my time. I'll be getting up at 5:36, so give me a little time to wake up and have some coffee. Yeah, thanks everybody for watching. Hope you had a good time, learned something different, and I'll see y'all later. And thanks again for the resubs from Major Havoc. And did anybody else resub? I don't believe so. Remember, if you want to, you can also switch over to Kick. Streamers get more back from Kick there than they do from Twitch.